Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will solve some advanced pattern questions in Python. So the first question is half pyramid after 180-degree rotation. First, I will take input from user. In this case, the input is 4. Then in each row, I have to print the number of stars. Here you can see that this pyramid is right aligned, but whenever we use print function, it will always print on left. So to print this pattern, first I will print some spaces, after this I will print stars. Here you can see that in the first row I have 3 spaces, in the second row I have 2 spaces, in the third row I have 1 space. So for printing spaces, the number of spaces for each row will be equals to total row minus that row number, that is n minus that row number. And for printing stars, so for each row I will print star equals to that row number. Let's see how to code this. First I will take input from user for the number of rows. Then I will write a for loop for each row. So for I in range, I will start from 1 and I will end that last row. Then I will write a nested loop for spaces. So for spaces in range. So here I want spaces to be total row minus that row number. So here I will write rows minus I. After this I will print a space and I will also end with a space, otherwise a new line will be printed. After printing space, I will again write a nested loop for the stars. So for j in range, and here for each row I want number of stars to be equals to that row number. So here I will write I, and after this I will print a new star and I will end with a space. So after printing spaces and star, I will print a new line. That's it. Execute it. Here I want 5 rows and we got the output. Next we have pyramid of stars. This question is also similar to the last question and we just need to make some slight changes in the previous code to print this. Let's code this. So here after printing spaces, I will just remove this space. That's it. Execute it. I want 5 rows and we got pyramid full of stars. Next we have number pattern. This question is also similar to the last question, but instead of printing star, here I am printing values from 1 to that row number. Let's code this. So here I don't want to print stars, instead I want to print values from 1 to that row number. So here I will write I plus 1, and instead of printing stars I will print the value of j. That's it. Execute it. Enter 5 here and we got the output. Next we have palindromic pyramid pattern. So the number whose reverse is same as the original number are termed as palindrome. For example, a number 121 is a palindrome because its reverse is 121, which is equals to the original number. So here we have to print the pyramid of palindromes and the number of elements in each row increases as we go down. Now if we observe this pattern, we can see that it has 3 parts. First, a spaces. Second part is the increasing half of the pyramid and the last part is the decreasing half of the pyramid. So first we will take input from user. In this case the input is 5. So the number of spaces in each row is equal to total rows minus that row number. For the second part, that is increasing half of the pyramid, in the first row I have value 1, in the second row I have value 1, 2, in the third row I have value 1, 2, 3. That means for each row I have to print values from 1 to that row number. And in the last part we have decreasing half of the pyramid. So in the second row I have 1, in the third row I have 2 and 1. That means for each row I have to start from that row minus 1 and I have to go till 1. So this is the range of the loop. Now let's code this. So first I will take input from user for the number of rows. After this, I will write a for loop for the rows. So for I in range, here I will start from 0 and I will end it at the last row. So 0 comma rows plus 1. Then I will write a nested loop for printing spaces for j in range. So here I will start from the row number, that is I here, and I will end at the last row. So rows plus 1. That's it. After this, I will print a space and I will also end with a space. After this, I will write a second inner loop for printing increasing half in each row. So for j in range, I'll start from 1 and I will go to that row number, that is I plus 1, and here I will print the value of j and end with a space. After this, I will write a third inner loop for printing decreasing half in each row. So here I will write for j in range, I will start from row minus 1, that is I minus 1, and I will end at 0, and my step size will be minus 1 here. That's it. Then I will print the value of j and I will end with a space. So after completing all 3 steps, I will print a new line. That's it. So here I will write 7, hit enter, and we got palindromic pyramid pattern. Next we have full pyramid of stars. So first I will take input from user. In this case the input is 5. So for the first row I will print 1 star, for the second row I will print 3 stars, for the third row I will print 5 stars, and so on. Here you can see that in each row the number of star is an odd number. So it will also be divided in 2 parts. In the first part I have to print spaces and in the second part I have to print stars. So for the first row I have to print 1 star. Now for the odd numbers we can either write 2 multiplied by n minus 1 or 2 multiplied by 1 plus 1. So here I am using 2n minus 1. So for the second row I can write 3 equals to 2 multiplied by row number minus 1. For the third row I can write 2 multiplied by row number minus 1 equals to 5, and so on. So the range for printing star in each row will be 1 to 2 multiplied by row number minus 1. Let's code this. So first I will take input from user for the number of rows. Then I will write a for loop for each row. So for I in range, and here I will start from 1 and end at rows plus 1. I will write a for loop for the spaces. So for spaces in range, here my range will be total rows minus row number, that is rows minus row number, which is I. Print a space and also end with a space. After this I will write a loop for printing stars, but this time I will use a while loop. You can also use for loop. Just to make you understand, I am using while loop. So first I will initialize a variable j equals to 0. I will start from 0 and here I will write while j is not equals to 2 multiplied by row number minus 1, and after this I will print a star and end with a space. After this I have to increment the value of j, otherwise it will be an infinite loop. So j plus equals to 1, and after printing spaces and stars I just want to print a new line. Execute it. Here I want 7 rows, hit enter, and we got the output. Next we have inverted full pyramid of stars. So if you observe this pattern, you can see it is the mirror image of the last question that we did. Here also I have 2 parts. First is space and then number of stars. So for the last row I have to print 1 star, for the second last row I have to print 3 stars, and so on. So here I will just change the range of the outer loop and I will start from the row number to the 1. Let's code this. Now I will change the range for the outer loop. So I will start from the last row and I will go till 1, and I will also mention the step size to be -1. That's it. Everything will be same. Now execute it. Here I want 8 rows. Hit enter, and we got inverted full pyramid of stars. Next we have diamond pattern. So to print this pattern, first I will print the upper half pyramid. After that I will print the bottom half pyramid. But for the bottom half pyramid, I will not include the last row number. And before printing stars, I will print some spaces. Let's see how to code this. First, I will take input from user for the number of rows. After this, I will write a for loop for the upper half pyramid. So for I in range, I will start from 1 and will go till last row, that is rows plus 1. After this, I will write a nested loop for printing spaces. So for spaces in range, and here my end range will be total number of rows minus row number, that is rows minus I. That's it. After this I will print a space, and also I will end with a space. After this I will write a while loop for printing stars. First I will initialize the value, so j equals to 0. After this I will write a while loop. J is not equals to 2 multiplied by row number minus 1. While this condition evaluates to true, I will print a star and also end with a space. After this, I will increment the value of j. That's it. And after printing spaces and star, I will add a new line. That's it. Now execute this. Here I want 5 rows. Let's see what will be the output. And we got the 5 rows. After this, I will print the bottom half of the diamond pattern. So here first I will initialize a variable for spaces. So k equals to 2. After this, I will write a for loop. So for I in range, I will start from 1 and go till rows minus 1. So here I have to write rows only because last index will not be included. I will write a nested loop for the spaces. So for spaces in range, I will go from 1 to k. Here I will print a space and also end with a space. After printing spaces, I have to increment the value of k because spaces are increasing in each row. So k plus equals to 1. Now to print stars, I will use a while loop, and for that I have to initialize a variable. So j equals to 1. After this I will write a while loop, and I will write a condition here. While j is less than or equals to brackets 2 multiplied by rows minus I and minus 1. So while this condition evaluates to true, I will print a star and end with a space. That's it. And after printing stars, I have to increment the value of j. Now print a new line. That's it. Execute it. Here I want 7 rows, and we got our diamond pattern. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys learned something, and I highly recommend you guys to try these code by yourself. Remember, the only way you can learn programming is writing code on your own. See you in the next video. Till then, keep coding.